A widowed farmer bought an abandoned barn for $1, thinking he'd gotten a bargain. But when he pried open a hidden hatch in the floor, he found something that would destroy everything. An underground infirmary, medical files tracking sick workers, and a list of people monitored for chemical exposure. His late wife's name was on that list. Someone had watched her die and said nothing. Now, as he digs deeper, his tires get slashed, evidence burns, and the town's most powerful man makes it clear. Some secrets were meant to stay buried. But he just found photographs of workers who vanished 30 years ago, and their bodies might still be on his land. Subscribe and tell me where you're watching from, because this story is about to expose everything they tried to hide. Eli sat near the back of the county auction hall. His boots scraped the concrete floor. Around him, farmers shifted in metal folding chairs, while the auctioneer's voice bounced off the rafters. Lot 17. Foreclosed parcel on County Road 9. Eli watched a neighbor bid on rusted machinery. The man's face stayed blank when the gavel fell. $300 for equipment that once cost thousands. Eli's own bank balance sat in his mind. $4,000 until the next mortgage payment. The auctioneer cleared his throat. Lot 24, abandoned barn and surrounding acreage on Old Mill Road. Starting bid $1. The room went quiet. Eli glanced around. Jonas Pike sat 3 rows ahead. His shoulders tensed. 2 other men near the door exchanged looks but said nothing. $1 for the property, the auctioneer said. Do I hear $1? Eli raised his hand before he thought about it. His arm felt heavy in the air. $1 to bidder 47, the auctioneer called. Any other bids? Silence stretched through the hall. Someone coughed. The auctioneer waited 5 seconds, then 10. Sold to bidder 47 for $1. The gavel cracked against the podium. Eli felt his stomach drop. He had just bought an abandoned barn. He owned land he had never walked. The paperwork desk sat at the front of the hall. Jonas caught him on the way out. You bought the Harlow barn? Jonas asked. I guess I did, Eli said. That's cursed ground, Jonas said. His smile looked forced. Buying it cheap don't mean it's worth having. Just needs work, Eli said. Maybe, Jonas said. He walked to his truck without looking back. Eli drove home with the deed on his passenger seat. The road curved past fields where crops grew thin. His own farm came into view. The house Anna had loved. The porch where they drank coffee before dawn. She had been gone 3 years now. Cancer had taken her fast. He turned onto Old Mill Road instead of his own driveway. The barn sat on a low hill. Evening light hit the weathered boards. Windows gaped empty. A strip of bare earth ran along the foundation. Nothing grew there. Just dirt. Eli parked at the bottom of the rutted track. The barn loomed ahead. He gripped the steering wheel and stared at the dark windows. His chest felt tight. The structure looked wrong somehow. Too quiet. Too still. He put the truck in gear and drove up the hill. The weight of his new bargain pressed down like a hand on his shoulders. Eli returned to the barn the next afternoon. Sunlight slanted through gaps in the walls. He stood at the base of the hill and studied the building. Boards sagged. Paint had peeled away years ago. The roof showed patches of sky. He walked closer. The bare strip along the foundation stretched 30 feet. He knelt and touched the dirt. Dry and lifeless. Even weeds avoided it. The door hung crooked on rusted hinges. Eli pulled. The wood scraped against the frame. The sound echoed inside. He stepped through into dimness. Dust hung in the air. Mouse droppings scattered the floor. Old equipment lay in corners. A broken plow. Lengths of chain. Something chemical hung beneath the smell of rot. Eli breathed through his mouth. Animal stalls lined one wall. No hay remained. No water troughs. just bare wood and cobwebs. A rusted sink jutted from the far corner. Hoses lay coiled beneath it. Dark stains marked the rubber. "Not mud," Eli said aloud. His voice sounded flat. He walked deeper. His boots crunched on debris. Light from the holes in the roof made bright circles on the floor. In one circle, straw lay piled higher than elsewhere. Too neat. Too purposeful. Wind picked up outside. A sheet of loose tin rattled on the roof. It shifted. More light poured through. The new angle showed something in the straw pile. A shadow that didn't match. Eli used his boot to push the straw aside. Underneath lay a wooden hatch set flush with the floor. A recessed handle gleamed dull in the light. The wood around it showed no rot. Someone had built this to last. His hand hovered over the handle. Cold air seemed to rise from the edges. Not much, just enough to feel. The chemical smell grew stronger. "What the hell?" Eli said. He wrapped his fingers around the handle but didn't pull. His heart beat faster. The barn felt too quiet. Too empty. He looked back at the door. His truck waited outside. He could leave. Board the place up. Forget about it. But his hand stayed on the handle. The metal warmed under his palm. He stood frozen, staring down at the hatch, wondering what lay beneath his feet. The tin sheet rattled again. The sound made him flinch. Eli came back in the morning. He brought a flashlight and a crowbar. The drive had given him time to think. He needed to know what he owned. That was all. Just basic due diligence. The barn door stood where he had left it. Open. Dark. He stepped inside and went straight to the hatch. No hesitation this time. He wedged the crowbar under the edge and pulled. The hatch lifted with a groan. Hinges protested. Eli set it back against the floor. A hole gaped open. Stairs led down, steep and narrow. The air that rose felt cool and stale. Something metallic mixed with it. He clicked on the flashlight. The beam cut through darkness. Wooden steps disappeared below. No railing, just a straight drop on either side. He took the first step, then the second. The stairs creaked under his weight. At the bottom, he swept the light across a room. Metal cots lined one wall. 4 of them. Stained mattresses lay on rusted frames. An eye wash station stood in the corner. Empty IV stands clustered near the cots. The chrome caught his light and threw it back. "Jesus," Eli said. This was an infirmary, hidden underground, built in secret. The chemical smell came from everywhere. Old, settled, wrong. He walked to the nearest cot. The mattress showed brown stains. Sweat. Blood. Other things. His stomach turned. The metal frame felt cold when he touched it. A poster hung on the wall. Faded. Water damaged. He moved closer. The words warned about chemical exposure. Emergency rinse procedures. A logo sat at the bottom. A stylized leaf around block letters. He had seen that logo before. On tanker trucks. Years ago. Coming through town. "Agricorp," he said. The light found a steel cabinet against the far wall, bolted into concrete. The door bore the same logo. A padlock hung from the handle. New. Shiny. Someone had replaced it recently. Eli crossed the room. His footsteps sounded too loud. He put his hand on the cabinet door. The metal felt cold. The padlock gleamed in his flashlight beam. He pulled. The lock held. He pulled harder. Nothing. The door didn't budge. But something inside shifted. Papers. Files. He heard them slide against metal. His breath came faster. The room felt smaller. He backed toward the stairs. His light swept across the cots one more time. The IV stands. The eye wash station. All of it hidden. All of it waiting. He climbed the stairs. Sunlight hit his face when he reached the top. He pulled the hatch closed. The sound echoed through the empty barn. Eli tried to sleep that night. Images kept returning. Stained mattresses, empty IV stands, the locked cabinet with something inside. He lay in the dark and stared at his ceiling. Anna had died in a hospital bed, machines beeping, tubes running from her arms. The doctors called it aggressive, fast-moving, nothing to be done. He had believed them. What else could he do? Morning came. He drove back to the barn. The crowbar felt heavy in his hand. He descended the stairs without turning on the flashlight. Enough light came through the hatch, enough to see the cabinet. He wedged the crowbar behind the lock. Pulled. The metal shrieked. He pulled harder. The lock twisted. The screws holding the hasp pulled from the frame. One more pull, and the door swung open. Binders filled the shelves. Medical forms. Polaroid photos clipped to pages. He pulled one binder out. The spine cracked when he opened it. Dust rose from the pages. Log sheets titled Exposure Incidents. Names, dates, locations, symptoms listed in neat columns: nausea, dizziness, respiratory distress, skin lesions. The entries went back 30 years. He flipped to another section, more photos, workers sitting on cots. Their faces showed exhaustion, sickness, fear. Some looked directly at the camera, others stared at nothing. "Who were you?" Eli asked. He found another binder. This one had typed pages. A list. High-risk residents, informal monitoring. The title made his hands shake. He read down the column. Names he recognized. Neighbors, people from church. 3 entries from the bottom he stopped. Anna Brenner, her maiden name, before they married, before they built the farm together, before cancer. The page listed her address from 30 years ago, her date of birth. A note. Proximity to Creek Run. Monitor for indicators. The binder slipped from his hands. Papers scattered across the concrete floor. Eli sat down hard. His back hit the cabinet. The cold seeped through his shirt. They knew. Someone knew. They monitored her, watched her, waited for her to get sick. And when she did, nobody said anything. He picked up the pages. His hands trembled. The photos stared up at him. The workers, the sick, the monitored. All of them silent now. All of them buried. Like Anna. The flashlight rolled across the floor. Its beam hit the wall and stayed there. Eli sat in the dim light, surrounded by evidence, surrounded by the dead. Eli carried a stack of files to Jonas's house that evening. The kitchen light was on. Jonas opened the door before Eli knocked. "Saw your truck," Jonas said. "Need you to look at something," Eli said. Jonas stepped back. Eli walked to the kitchen table and set the files down. Jonas poured coffee neither of them wanted. They sat. Eli pushed the papers across the worn wood. "Found these in the barn," Eli said. "Underground room." Jonas picked up a photo. His face went still. He set it down and grabbed another. Then a log sheet. His eyes moved across the page, but his expression didn't change. "Old tests," Jonas said. "From before regulations." "It's more than that," Eli said. "Look at the list." He pushed the high-risk page forward. Jonas read it. His jaw tightened. He put it down and stood up. Walked to the sink. Stared out the window into darkness. "People get sick," Jonas said. "That's life." "They monitored them," Eli said. "Watched them. Waited." "You're overreacting," Jonas said. "Anna's name is on that list," Eli said. Jonas turned. His face looked older in the kitchen light. Tired. Something else. Afraid. "Some things are better left buried," Jonas said. "Especially on land you now own." "What does that mean?" Eli asked. "It means you bought it," Jonas said. "It's your problem now." Eli stood. He gathered the files. Jonas wouldn't look at him, just stared at the coffee mug on the counter. His hands gripped the sink edge, knuckles white. "What aren't you telling me?" Eli asked. "Nothing," Jonas said. "I got chores." He walked Eli to the door. His hands shook when he opened it. The porch light flickered. Moths circled in the yellow glow. "Jonas," Eli said. "Go home, Eli," Jonas said. "Let this alone." The door closed. Eli stood on the porch, listened to the lock turn. He walked to his truck. Jonas's silhouette moved past the kitchen window. Then the light went out. Eli sat in his truck and watched the dark house. Jonas knew something. The fear in his voice made that clear. The trembling hands. The refusal to look at the photos again. He started the engine, drove down the gravel road. In his rearview mirror, Jonas's house disappeared into the night. The files sat on the passenger seat. Evidence Jonas didn't want to see. Truth he wanted buried. Eli's hands tightened on the wheel. The road stretched ahead into darkness. Eli drove to the county clinic 2 days later. He brought a folder. Just enough papers to ask questions without revealing everything. The waiting room smelled like antiseptic. A child cried in an exam room. "I need to see Mara Kell," Eli told the receptionist. "She's with a patient," the receptionist said. "I'll wait," Eli said. 20 minutes later, Mara came out. She wore scrubs, her hair pulled back. She looked tired. "Eli," she said. "Everything okay?" "Need to ask you about something," he said. "Professional." She led him to a small office, files stacked on the desk, a coffee mug with a chipped handle. She closed the door. "What is it?" she asked. He opened the folder, pulled out 3 pages. Medical codes, symptom clusters, chemical names he couldn't pronounce. She read silently. Her frown deepened with each page. "Where did you get these?" she asked. "Old health surveys," Eli said. "Found them in the barn I bought." "Which barn?" she asked. "Off Old Mill Road," he said. Her eyes lifted from the pages, met his. Something shifted in her expression. Recognition. Worry. "These codes refer to serious exposures," she said. "Carcinogens, neurotoxins. Where exactly did you find them?" He hesitated. The underground room felt too big to explain, too impossible. She'd think he was lying. Or crazy. "Just in the barn," he said. "Old filing cabinet." "Are there containers on the property?" she asked. "Drums? Tanks?" "I don't know," he said. "Don't disturb anything," she said. "Don't touch any unknown substances. This is serious, Eli." She looked at the papers again. Her finger traced a column of symptoms. Her professional calm cracked at the edges. Fear showed through. "I'll check what I can," she said. "Discreetly. But if there's contamination on your land, you need to report it." "Not yet," he said. "I need to know more first." "Why?" she asked. "Anna's name is on one of the lists," he said. Mara went still. The papers trembled in her hands. She set them down carefully. Too carefully. Like they might break. "I'll see what I can find," she said. Eli stood. She walked him to the door. In the waiting room, people read magazines. Waited for their names. Normal life continuing around them. "Be careful with those documents," Mara said, "and with who you tell." "I will," Eli said. He left. In his truck, he watched the clinic door. Mara stood at the window, looking out. He couldn't see her expression from this distance. But she didn't move. Just watched him drive away. Under her desk blotter, photocopies waited. She had made them while he looked away. Evidence hidden. Her professional obligation fighting her instinct to protect her job. Eli drove home. The folder sat empty on the seat beside him. He had given Mara enough to make her care. enough to make her look. That was all he needed. For now. Eli ran into Clara Duval at the grocery store on Saturday. She pushed a cart filled with canned soup and bread. Her white hair curled at the edges. She smiled when she saw him. "Eli Garner," she said. "Haven't seen you in ages." "Been busy," he said. "I heard you bought that old barn," she said. "The one up on Old Mill Road." News traveled fast in a small town. He shouldn't be surprised, but his jaw tightened anyway. "Just a property investment," he said. "Oh, that place has history," Clara said. Her eyes brightened. "Back when I taught at the elementary school, we did a whole project about environmental safety. Company men came through, collected soil samples from the playground, had us fill out health surveys for all the students." Eli's hand froze on a can of beans. He set it in his basket slowly, kept his voice casual. "What company?" he asked. "Those chemical fellows," Clara said. "Agricorp, I think, or one of their subsidiaries. They promised to make the county safer. Very official, very thorough." "What happened to the reports?" Eli asked. "Never heard anything," Clara said. She frowned. "The principal asked at a school board meeting. They said everything looked fine, thanked the company for their proactive outreach. That was all." "Do you remember any names?" he asked. "From the project?" "Oh, I have all the old school records somewhere," Clara said. "Boxes and boxes. I was the archivist before I retired. Never could bring myself to throw anything away." "Could I see them?" Eli asked. "Of course," she said. "Come by anytime. I love company." That evening, Eli spread his files across the kitchen table. He added his notes from Clara's conversation. The school project, the health surveys, the company promise, the silence afterward. He pulled out a legal pad, drew a rough map of the county, marked the barn, then marked the homes from the high-risk list, the ones he could remember. 7 of them. He drew Creek Run. The line connected them, all downstream from the barn. His pencil stopped at his own house, downstream, on the creek. Anna had grown up 3 miles from here, also downstream, also on the list. The map looked like evidence, like a pattern, like deliberate choices hiding behind random bad luck. Cancer, heart disease, respiratory problems. All clustered. All connected by water flowing past a barn where someone had built an underground infirmary. He circled his house on the map. The line connected him to the barn. To Anna. To 30 years of sickness nobody had explained. His hands started shaking. He put the pencil down, stared at the map. The connection stared back. Tomorrow he would visit Clara. Look through her boxes. Find the names from that school project. But tonight he sat alone with his map, with his suspicions, with the weight of knowing his wife's death might have been predicted, might have been watched, might have been allowed. The kitchen felt cold. He didn't move. Just sat, staring at the circle around his house, at the line connecting him to everything. Sunday morning came bright and cold. Eli drove to church. He always did. Habit older than grief. The building sat on Main Street. White paint and a simple steeple. People gathered on the steps. Inside he found his usual pew. 3rd row from the back. Jonas sat ahead. Didn't turn around, didn't acknowledge him. Other neighbors filled the space, talking, laughing. The organ played softly. Rowan Harlow came in through the side door. He shook hands, patted shoulders. His suit fit perfectly. His smile never wavered. He handed the pastor an envelope. Thick. The pastor thanked him loudly. Others turned to look, to nod approval. "Rowan's generosity keeps this church running," someone whispered behind Eli. "Pays for the school lunches, too," another voice said. "Good man. Blessed to have him." Eli watched Rowan move through the crowd, saw how many people touched his arm, how many thanked him, how many depended on him. Agricorp employed half the county. Rowan's name sat on buildings, scholarships, the new clinic wing. After the service, people lingered. Eli headed for the door. 3 neighbors stopped him, made jokes about his new purchase, about liability, about old messes. "That barn's been empty for a reason," one said. "Careful what you go digging up," another said. "Some places ought to stay abandoned," the third said. They smiled when they said it, kept their voices light, but their eyes held warning. Eli nodded, said nothing, kept walking. Rowan caught him on the steps. His handshake felt firm, practiced. "Eli," Rowan said, "heard you bought the old property on Mill Road." "News travels?" Eli said. "Small town," Rowan said. His smile widened. "That's a hazard off the books. Good someone responsible has it now. Lot of liability in old structures." "Just needs work," Eli said. "More than work, I'd think," Rowan said. "Old buildings can hide old problems, environmental concerns, legal exposure, important to be careful." "I'll manage," Eli said. "Of course," Rowan said. He patted Eli's shoulder. "Just remember, if you need advice or help, my door's always open. We're neighbors, after all." Rowan walked away, greeted others, his laugh carried across the parking lot. Eli stood on the steps, watched. Him. The conversation felt wrong. Too specific. Too knowing. Rowan knew about the barn. Not just that it existed. He knew its history, its problems. He called it off the books, a hazard. He knew. Eli drove home, parked his truck, walked to the barn. The bare strip of earth ran along the foundation, dead ground, nothing grew, nothing ever would. He stood at the edge, looked down at the dirt, at the building, at the land he now owned, the land that held secrets, the land connected to Anna, to the list, to everything Rowan Harlow didn't want exposed. The wind picked up. Dry leaves skittered across the bare earth. Eli made his decision. He would dig deeper, into the paper trail, into the history, into whatever lay beneath this ground. Someone had built that underground room. Someone had filled those files. Someone had watched people get sick. And someone had worked very hard to make sure nobody asked questions. Eli turned, walked back to his truck. The barn waited behind him. Patient, silent, full of evidence. Tomorrow he would call Mara, visit Clara, start putting the pieces together. He had bought this place for $1, but the real price was just beginning. The sun dropped toward the horizon, shadows stretched across the dead earth. Eli drove away. In his mirror the barn grew smaller, but its weight stayed with him, heavy as truth, dark as secrets, sharp as the choice he had already made. Mara sat alone in her office after the last patient left. The clinic grew quiet. She pulled Eli's photocopies from her desk drawer, spread them across the keyboard. She opened the state health database, typed the first chemical name. The results loaded slowly. Carcinogen, class 1A, known to cause cancer in humans. She typed the second name, neurotoxin, linked to degenerative disorders. Her stomach tightened. She pulled patient files, names from the high-risk list. 3 had been her patients. All dead. Liver cancer, lung cancer, ALS. The diagnoses came years apart. Different doctors. No pattern anyone would notice. Unless someone looked. She checked county health reports going back 30 years. Scanned for clusters, for investigations, for red flags. Nothing. The reports showed normal mortality rates, expected disease distribution, standard rural health outcomes. Someone had steered attention away. Deliberately. Professionally. She felt cold. Her computer screen flickered. She reached for the mouse. The system logged her out. She logged back in. Navigated to the environmental database. Found a state study from 1993. Title: Industrial Contamination Assessment, Rural Counties. She clicked the file. It opened. She started reading. Unacceptable risk levels, illegal dumping operations, a subsidiary name, Harlow Environmental Solutions. The screen went black. Her computer rebooted. The blue screen glowed. Loading. Loading. She waited. The desktop appeared. She opened her recent files. The study was gone, vanished from her search history, from her downloads, from everywhere. Her hands shook. She grabbed a notepad, wrote down everything she remembered, the chemical names, the subsidiary, the risk assessment. Her handwriting looked jagged, rushed. A knock on her door. She jumped, stuffed the notepad in her purse, closed the patient files. Mara? Her supervisor stood in the doorway. Still here? Just finishing paperwork, Mara said. I noticed some unusual database queries today, her supervisor said. Environmental records, old patient files, everything okay? Research, Mara said, for a community health presentation. Right, her supervisor said. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Just remember to follow data access protocols. We don't want any HIPAA issues. Of course, Mara said. He left. She heard his footsteps fade down the hall. Her heart hammered. She gathered her things, the photocopies, the notepad. Her hands fumbled with her purse zipper. The parking lot felt too dark, too empty. She walked fast to her car, locked the doors, sat in the driver's seat. Breathing hard, her phone felt heavy in her hand. She dialed Eli. 3 rings. 4. Hello? Eli said. It's bigger than we thought, Mara said. Much bigger. What did you find? Eli asked. Not over the phone, she said. Tomorrow, your place. I'll bring what I have. She hung up, started her car. The clinic windows glowed behind her. Someone stood in her office, watching. She couldn't see who. Just a silhouette against the light. She drove home. The notepad sat on the passenger seat. Evidence written in her own hand. Proof someone was monitoring her searches. Proof they knew she was looking. Clara's bungalow smelled like old books and lemon polish. Boxes lined the hallway. She led Eli to her spare room. More boxes, stacked to the ceiling. School records, Clara said. Organized by year, mostly. Can we look at 1989? Eli asked. The environmental project? Oh, I remember that year, Clara said. She pulled a box down. Dust rose. Such excitement. The children felt very important. She opened the box. Manila folders, newspaper clippings, meeting minutes. Eli helped her sort through them. His hands moved carefully through the brittle paper. Here, Clara said. She held up a flyer. Community Partnership Initiative, AgriCorp Environmental Division. The logo matched the one in the barn. Eli took the flyer, read the promises, enhanced safety protocols, proactive environmental monitoring, community health protection. Did they ever present results? Eli asked. No, Clara said. The school board asked twice, then they stopped asking. She handed him more papers. Meeting minutes. A motion to formally request test results, dated April 15, 1989. The next page showed a different motion. May 3, 1989. Generic language. Thanking the company for proactive outreach. No mention of results. Someone changed the motion, Eli said. I noticed that too, Clara said. At the time, but I was just a teacher. Nobody asked my opinion. They kept searching. Eli found a class roster, student names and addresses. He pulled out his legal pad, started marking locations on his county map. The addresses clustered, along Creek Run, downstream from the barn. His pen moved faster, connecting dots, drawing lines. The pattern emerged clearly now, water flowing, carrying contamination, settling in soil, seeping into wells. He circled his own house again. The line ran straight from the barn, through 7 properties, past the school, to his home, to Anna's childhood home 3 miles downstream. "What are you finding?" Clara asked. "A map," Eli said, "of who got exposed." Clara looked over his shoulder. Her face paled. She recognized names, families, students who grew up sick, parents who died young. "Oh my," she said. "Oh dear." "Can I borrow these documents?" Eli asked. "Keep them," Clara said. "I'll make copies of everything I have from that year. Bring them tomorrow." Eli drove home. The files sat beside him. Physical evidence, a canceled motion, a company promise never fulfilled, a pattern hiding in plain sight. At home, he laid everything out. The medical files from the barn, Clara's school records, his map with the creek marked, the connections multiplied, undeniable, deliberate. His phone rang. Mara. "I'm coming over," she said. "I have something you need to see." She arrived 20 minutes later, handed him her notepad. He read her scrawled notes, the vanished state study, the subsidiary name, the monitoring of her database searches. "They're watching," Mara said. "I know," Eli said. He showed her the map, the school records, the creek connections. They stood over the kitchen table, evidence surrounding them, Anna's name on the list, Rafael Ortiz in the photos. Children surveyed but never told the results. Water flowing through contaminated ground for 30 years. "What do we do?" Mara asked. "We keep digging," Eli said, "until we know everything." Mara picked up the map. Her finger traced Creek Run, down from the barn, through the county, past her own apartment complex. "I live on this creek," she said. "I know," Eli said. Her hand shook. She set the map down. Fear and anger crossed her face. Personal now, not just professional curiosity. "Then we finish this," she said. Eli came home from town 3 days later. Late afternoon sun slanted across his yard. His truck sat where he left it. But something looked wrong. He walked closer. Both front tires, slashed, rubber peeled back, flat against the gravel. His chest went tight. He scanned the yard, the barn, the fields. Nothing moved. No vehicles on the road, just wind through dead grass. A white paper fluttered under his wiper. Folded once. He pulled it out. Block letters. Black marker. "Let the dead rest." He turned. Looked at the empty road again. The barn stood silent on the hill. Nobody there, nobody visible. But someone had been here, recently, while he shopped for groceries. Inside, he called the sheriff. Waited an hour. Deputy Morrison showed up. Young, bored, wrote notes slowly. "Probably kids," Morrison said, "or someone with a grudge. You owe anyone money?" "No," Eli said. "Have any disputes with neighbors?" Morrison asked. "No," Eli said. "Then I'd say teenage vandalism," Morrison said. "We'll file a report. But without witnesses, there's not much we can do." "What about the note?" Eli asked. Morrison looked at it, shrugged. "Could mean anything," Morrison said. "Might not even be connected. You should secure your property better. Maybe get cameras." He left. His cruiser disappeared down the road. Eli stood in his driveway, holding the note, reading the words again. "Let the dead rest." Someone knew he was asking questions, knew he had found something. This was a warning. Clear, direct, threatening. He went inside, locked the doors, started gathering the most important documents, the medical files, the exposure logs, the high-risk list with Anna's name, Clara's school records, Mara's notes. In the pantry, he pulled the bottom shelf board loose, a space beneath, hidden. He wrapped the documents in plastic, sealed them with tape, placed the bundle in the hollow space, replaced the board. His hands moved fast. Sweat dripped down his back. His heart wouldn't slow. He kept checking the windows, watching the road, waiting for whoever had slashed his tires to come back. The barn loomed outside, dark against the evening sky, the underground room beneath it. The evidence burned but not destroyed. Someone wanted that evidence gone. And now they wanted him quiet. He made coffee, didn't drink it, just held the mug, stood at the window. Night fell. His truck sat useless in the driveway. The note lay on the counter. 4 words, enough to make the threat clear. His phone rang. Jonas. He didn't answer. Let it go to voicemail. Waited. The voicemail icon appeared. He played it. Eli, it's me, just checking on you. Call me back. Jonas's voice sounded strained, worried, guilty. Eli deleted the message, stared at the phone, wondering who Jonas had talked to, who he might have told about Eli's visit, about the files. Outside, the barn watched. The dead earth stretched beneath it, secrets buried, bodies counted, lies protected. Someone wanted it to stay that way, and they had just shown Eli how far they would go. Eli drove to Jonas's farm the next morning, borrowed tires on his truck. He needed answers. Jonas had been avoiding him. That meant Jonas knew something. Jonas stood near his barn, feeding chickens. He turned when Eli parked. His face went pale. Eli, Jonas said. We need to talk, Eli said. I'm busy, Jonas said. Now, Eli said. They walked to Jonas's porch, sat on the steps. The morning felt cold. Too quiet. Jonas wouldn't look at him. Who did you tell? Eli asked. Tell what? Jonas asked. About the files I showed you, Eli said. About the barn. Nobody, Jonas said. Someone slashed my tires, Eli said. Left me a note. Told me to let the dead rest. Jonas's hands clenched. He stared at his boots. His breathing got faster. Jonas? Eli said. Who did you tell? I might have mentioned it, Jonas said. At the feed store, just casual. Didn't think... Who was there? Eli asked. Few guys, Jonas said. Rowan's foreman. Couple others who work at AgriCorp. Eli stood. Anger surged through him. Hot. Blinding. Jonas had talked. Put Eli in danger, after asking him to stay quiet. You told Rowan's people? Eli said. I didn't know they'd... Jonas started. What else haven't you told me? Eli asked. Jonas went quiet. His face twisted. Shame. Fear. Something heavier. He covered his face with his hands. I hauled barrels, Jonas said. His voice cracked. Years ago. To that barn. At night. They paid cash. Said it was temporary storage. Eli went cold. He sat back down. Slow, careful, afraid of what else Jonas might say. When? Eli asked. Late 80s, early 90s, Jonas said. Drought years. I was broke, behind on payments. They offered $200 a barrel, no questions. I took it. How many? Eli asked. I don't know, Jonas said. 20, maybe more. Over 2 years. What was in them? Eli asked. Never opened them, Jonas said. Didn't want to know. They said the company knew what it was doing. Said it was safe. Temporary. But it wasn't, Eli said. No, Jonas said. He dropped his hands. Looked at Eli. His eyes were red. I told myself it was fine. That big companies know better. That I needed the money. That everyone else would have done the same. Did they? Eli asked. Some, Jonas said. Few other guys. Hauled. Kept quiet. Took the money. Eli felt sick. His neighbor, his friend, had poisoned the land, poisoned the creek, poisoned Anna, for $200 a barrel. I'm sorry, Jonas said. I've been sorry for 30 years. Sorry doesn't fix it, Eli said. I know, Jonas said. They sat in silence. The chickens pecked at the ground. A truck passed on the road. Normal life, continuing around them, while they sat with the truth of what Jonas had done. Do you have proof? Eli asked. Receipts? Anything? Maybe, Jonas said. Old ledger. In the barn. I kept thinking I should burn it, but I couldn't. Get it, Eli said. Jonas stood, walked to his barn, came back with a grease-stained notebook, handed it to Eli. The pages showed dates, amounts, a company name, Harlow Environmental Solutions, the same subsidiary Mara had found, the same one from the vanished state report. They're connected, Eli said. Rowan, the barrels, all of it. What are you going to do? Jonas asked. Whatever it takes, Eli said. He drove home. The ledger sat on his seat, evidence linking Rowan's company directly to the contamination, to the barn, to Anna's death. His hands shook on the wheel, anger, grief, betrayal. Jonas had helped poison his wife, and Rowan had paid him to do it. The barn appeared ahead. The dead earth. The hidden room. All of it connected now. All of it deliberate. Eli gripped the ledger. This changed everything. Mara arrived at the clinic early. She had a list, specific searches to run before anyone else arrived. The building felt empty, too quiet. Her footsteps echoed in the hallway. She logged into her computer, navigated to the State Environmental Database, typed the subsidiary name, Harlow Environmental Solutions. The search returned 3 results. One was a business registration, dissolved in 1996. The second was a compliance report, generic, clean. The third was the study she had found before, the one that vanished. She clicked it. The file opened. Her breath caught. She started reading, scanning, taking notes. The study documented illegal dumping, soil contamination, water table infiltration, high cancer risk, criminal negligence. The conclusion recommended immediate intervention, federal prosecution, mandatory cleanup. The date stamp showed it had been submitted to 3 agencies, never acted on. She clicked print. The printer hummed. 5 pages. She grabbed them. Her hands shook. This was proof. Real proof. Evidence the state had known and done nothing. Her screen flickered. She looked up. A dialog box appeared. Your session has been terminated due to unauthorized access. She tried to log back in. Access denied. She tried again. The same message. Her password had been changed. Someone had locked her out. The printer stopped. She looked down. Blank pages. The last 3 pages hadn't printed. Just white paper. Empty. Her phone buzzed. Her supervisor. Please come to my office. Her stomach dropped. She saved what notes she had, closed the database, walked down the hall. Each step felt heavy. Final. Her supervisor sat behind his desk. His face looked serious, professional, distant. Mara, he said, we need to discuss your database usage. I was researching, she said. Environmental records outside your scope of practice, he said. Patient files accessed without authorization. Printing restricted documents. This is serious. I had permission, she said. The lie felt weak. From whom? He asked. She said nothing. He leaned forward, his hands folded on the desk. You're a good nurse, he said. Don't throw your career away. These inquiries need to stop, immediately, or we'll have to consider disciplinary action. Understood, she said. Good, he said. Take the rest of the day. Think about your priorities. She left, walked to her car. Her hands fumbled with her keys. She had been officially warned, threatened. They were watching her, blocking her access, making sure she stayed quiet. In the parking lot, she pulled out her notepad. The scribbled summary of the study. Not complete, but enough. She took photos with her phone, backed them up to cloud storage, sent copies to her personal email. If they locked her out, she'd work around them. If they watched her, office computer, she'd use her own. If they wanted her quiet, she'd get louder. She called Eli. They cut my access, she said. Gave me a formal warning. They know I've been looking. Back off, Eli said. It's too dangerous. No, she said. I'm in this now. I live on that creek too, Eli. I've probably been drinking contaminated water for 5 years. Silence on the line. Then his voice. Quieter. Resigned. Okay, he said. Then we move faster, before they can shut us down completely. She drove to his farm. The notepad felt hot in her purse. Evidence, incomplete, fragile, but evidence. The barn loomed ahead, the dead earth beneath it. Secrets someone was working very hard to protect. Someone who had just threatened her job, her license, her future. Someone who didn't know she had already decided to fight back. The Grange Hall glowed with warm light. The charity dinner drew everyone. Farmers in clean shirts, families with children. Rowan Harlow near the center, smiling, shaking hands, being thanked. Eli stood near the back, Mara beside him. They had come together, intentionally, to watch, to observe, to ask careful questions. Tables held donated food. Someone played guitar in the corner. Normal, pleasant, safe. The kind of evening that made people forget about problems, about questions, about things better left buried. Rowan saw them. His smile stayed in place. He walked over. His handshake felt firm, practiced. Eli, Mara, Rowan said. Good to see you both. Nice event, Eli said. Community is everything, Rowan said. We take care of each other, always have. Speaking of community, Eli said, I've been curious about old environmental programs, from the 80s and 90s. Did AgriCorp run those? Rowan's eyes sharpened, just briefly. The smile never wavered. We partnered with various initiatives, Rowan said, following regulations, protecting local interests. The barn on my property has some interesting history, Eli said. Underground room, medical equipment, files mentioning AgriCorp. Old facilities, Rowan said. His tone stayed smooth. Before my time as CEO, before modern compliance standards. Nothing to worry about now. But people got sick, Mara said. Patterns of illness along Creek Run, cancer clusters, neurological disorders. Unfortunate, Rowan said. But rural life has risks. Agricultural chemicals, well water quality, old pipes, many factors. The files suggest monitoring, Eli said. Lists of high-risk residents, exposure logs, someone new. Rowan's face changed. Subtly. The warmth faded. Something colder showed beneath. He leaned closer. His voice dropped. Listen carefully, Rowan said. Old fears help nobody. Creating panic destroys communities, makes people unemployable, tanks property values, ruins lives. Sometimes the past needs to stay past. Even if people died, Mara asked. People die anyway, Rowan said. That's life, but stirring up trouble, that's choice. Bad choice for everyone. He straightened. The smile returned. Public face back in place. Enjoy the dinner, Rowan said. The pulled pork is excellent. He walked away, stopped at another table, laughed with someone's children, donated another check. The room loved him, depended on him, trusted him. Eli and Mara stood silent, processing what just happened. The threat beneath polite words. The admission wrapped in corporate language. The clear warning to stop asking questions. He knows about the underground room, Mara said. Specifically, the details. He called it an old facility, Eli said. His company built it. He knows exactly what it was for. They left early. The parking lot felt cold, dark. Their cars sat alone at the edge. This isn't just cover-up, Mara said. It's ongoing, active. They're still protecting it. Because exposure means lawsuits, Eli said. Criminal charges, bankruptcy. Everything Rowan built would collapse. So he'll fight, Mara said. He already is, Eli said. They drove separate cars home. Eli watched his mirrors, looking for headlights following, for anything suspicious. The roads stayed empty. but the feeling of being watched stayed with him. At home, he stood at the window, stared at the barn, at the dead earth, at the evidence hidden beneath his pantry floor. Rowan knew, and knowing, he had threatened them, warned them, made clear that pursuit of truth would cost them everything. Eli closed the curtains, but the barn waited outside. Patient, full of secrets Rowan would kill to protect. Eli woke to orange light flickering through his bedroom window. He sat up, smelled smoke, grabbed jeans and boots, ran outside. The barn. Fire glowed inside. Smoke curled from the open hatch. Not the structure burning, something else, something specific. He ran, heart pounding, reached the barn door, pulled it open. Heat hit his face. Smoke stung his eyes. He dropped to his knees, crawled to the hatch. Stairs glowed below. The underground room, on fire. He grabbed his shirt, covered his mouth, descended. The steel cabinet twisted open. Papers burned inside, photos curling, black ash. The files scattered across the floor, flames eating through decades of evidence. The mattresses smoldered. Smoke filled the space. He grabbed what he could. Singed papers, photos from corners, anything not fully destroyed. His hands burned. His lungs screamed. He stumbled back, climbed the stairs, collapsed on the barn floor. Outside, he coughed, gasped, laid the rescued documents on the ground. Maybe a dozen pages, 3 photos. Everything else gone. Burned, destroyed. His phone. He called 911, gave the address, waited. Fire trucks arrived 20 minutes later. Too late. The underground room showed char marks, melted plastic, ash covering everything. The fire chief walked through, examined the scene, came back out. Arson, the fire chief said. Definitely. Accelerant used, targeted at the cabinet and files. Not meant to burn the structure, just destroy evidence. Evidence of what? The sheriff asked. He had arrived with the fire trucks. Same deputy from before. Morrison, looking skeptical. I found medical files, Eli said. Exposure logs, from Agricorp. Someone didn't want them public. You should secure your property better, Morrison said. This is the second incident. Both could have been prevented. Someone is threatening me, Eli said. Do you have proof? Morrison asked. Witnesses? Anything concrete? The note, Eli said. The timing. Not enough for an investigation, Morrison said. File a report. Your insurance might cover damages, but without evidence of who did it, there's nothing we can do. They left, fire trucks, sheriff, everyone. Eli stood alone in the dawn light. The barn reeked of smoke, of burned plastic, of destroyed proof. He gathered the surviving documents, took them inside, called Mara, then Clara, then Jonas. Emergency meeting, his kitchen, now. They arrived within an hour. Eli spread the damaged papers across the table, smoke-stained, incomplete, but still evidence, still proof something had been hidden. They're destroying it, Clara said, systematically. We need to copy everything we have, Mara said. Distribute it, multiple locations, so one fire can't erase it all. I have the ledger, Jonas said, and Clara has school records. That's something. It's not enough, Eli said. Not without the medical files, the exposure logs, the proof of what they did. Mara pulled her phone out, showed them photos, documents she had photographed weeks ago, backups in cloud storage, the exposure logs, the high-risk list, the Polaroids. I made copies, she said, before they locked me out, just in case. Relief washed over Eli. They still had evidence, digital, distributed, harder to destroy. Then we move now, Eli said, before they try again. They spent the morning making copies, printing, photographing, sending files to multiple email addresses, creating redundancy, making the evidence impossible to eliminate completely. The barn stood outside. Wounded, violated, its secret room charred. But the truth had already escaped, scattered, protected, ready to be revealed. Someone had tried to silence them with fire, but they had failed. The evidence survived. And now Eli knew they were running out of time. Mara returned to the barn with Eli 2 days later. She wore a simple mask. Gloves. They descended into the damaged underground room. The smell of burnt plastic hung thick. She photographed everything: the twisted cabinet, the charred floor, the melted IV stands, building documentation of the destruction itself. Proof of arson, of intimidation, of active cover-up. Clara arrived an hour later. She brought boxes, old school records, student health surveys, meeting minutes, everything she had copied and organized. Physical evidence from a different angle. Jonas hovered at the barn entrance, uncomfortable, guilty, but present. He had brought his ledger, the original, his confession written in his own hand. "This is it," Jonas said. "All the proof I have." They spread everything out, upstairs in the barn, away from the smoke damage, medical files, school records, payment ledgers, digital backups on 3 phones. The story emerged clearly, completely, undeniably. 97, AgriCorp subsidiary begins dumping. 1989, school health survey conducted. Results never released. 1990-1993, Jonas and others haul barrels. Paid cash, no questions. 1994, underground infirmary in use. Workers treated, monitored, kept quiet. 1996, subsidiary dissolved. Operations continue under different names. 1997, 2020, illnesses cluster along Creek Run. Cancer, neurological disorders, deaths. The timeline laid bare, the pattern clear, deliberate contamination, systematic concealment, decades of harm. A truck pulled up outside. They tensed. Eli looked out. Miguel Ortiz. He had heard about the meeting through town gossip. Wanted to know what they found. "Can I come in?" Miguel called. "Yes," Eli said. Miguel entered, saw the files spread out, the photos, the ledger. His eyes swept across the evidence, stopped on a Polaroid. He picked it up, hands shaking, brought it close to his face. "That's my father," Miguel said. His voice cracked. "Rafael, there, in that photo." The image showed 5 workers, sitting outside the barn, exhausted, sick-looking. Rafael stood second from the left. Young, scared, alive. "He worked here?" Eli asked. "He came through on a crew," Miguel said. "Seasonal work, supposed to move on after harvest, never did. My mother got 1 letter, then nothing. The company said he just left, moved on without telling anyone." "But he didn't," Mara said. "No," Miguel said. "He's in this photo, at this barn, looking sick. And then he vanished." The weight of that realization settled over the room. Rafael might not have left. He might have died here, been buried, erased. Another inconvenient death hidden by people who valued profit over people. "I've looked for him for 20 years, Miguel said. "Police said migrant workers move around, that I should stop searching, that he probably started a new family somewhere." "They lied," Eli said. "They all lied," Miguel said. He set the photo down, looked at Eli. "I'll testify, give a statement, whatever you need. My father deserves to be remembered." Clara squeezed Miguel's shoulder. Jonas looked away, ashamed. Eli felt the group solidify. Different people, different losses. One truth connecting them all. "We need a lawyer," Mara said. "Someone outside the county, someone who can't be pressured." "I know one," Eli said. "Environmental attorney. 2 counties over. I'll call today." They gathered the evidence, organized it, prepared folders, backup drives, everything documented, everything witnessed. Outside, the barn cast long shadows. The dead earth stretched beneath it. But inside, 6 people, stood around proof of what had been done, around names of who had suffered, around documentation of who was responsible. The fight had begun, and they were ready. Miguel held his father's photo, looked at it one last time before placing it carefully in a folder. His hands stopped shaking. His face hardened, determined. "Tell me what happened," Miguel said. "I've waited long enough." And they told him. Everything. The truth his father died for. The truth they would all fight to expose. Miguel sat at Eli's kitchen table. The rescued Polaroid lay before him. His father stood among 4 other workers. Thin, exhausted, eyes hollow. "Tell me everything," Miguel said. Eli pushed the exposure logs across the table. Miguel read slowly. His finger traced the dates. September 1993. Workers treated for chemical exposure. Symptoms documented. Rafael Ortiz listed. Respiratory distress, skin lesions, disorientation. "They knew he was sick," Miguel said. "They monitored him," Mara said. "Like everyone else. Watched, waited, did nothing." Miguel's hands clenched. The paper crumpled slightly. He smoothed it, kept reading. October 1993. Rafael's symptoms worsened. Recommended hospitalization. No follow-up entry. "What does that mean?" Miguel asked. "No follow-up?" "It means he never got treatment," Eli said. "Or they stopped documenting." "Or he died," Miguel said. His voice went flat. Empty. They sat in silence. The weight of that possibility hung heavy. Rafael might have died on this property, been buried somewhere, erased from records, his family left to wonder. "My mother died thinking he abandoned us," Miguel said. "That he chose to leave, started over without us. She died believing that." Clara reached across the table, squeezed his hand. He didn't pull away, just stared at his father's photo, at the proof he had been here, had suffered here, had vanished here. "I need to know what happened to his body," Miguel said. "If there's a grave, somewhere, I need to bring him home." "We'll find out," Eli said. "When investigators come, they'll search the property. Ground-penetrating radar, soil analysis. If he's here, they'll find him." Miguel lifted the photo, studied his father's face. The resemblance was clear. Same eyes, same jawline, same determined set to the mouth. "He looks scared," Miguel said. "But he's still working, still standing, still trying." "Like you," Mara said. "Like all of us," Miguel said. He set the photo down, looked at Eli. "Anna's name is on that list. Your wife, my father, Clara's students, Mara's patients, Jonas's neighbors. We all lost someone." "Or we are losing ourselves," Mara said. "I've been drinking that water for 5 years." The shared recognition deepened between them. This wasn't abstract justice. This was personal, immediate. Their lives, their families, their bodies. "I'll give a formal statement," Miguel said. "Everything I know, everything my mother told me, the letter we got, the lies the company told us, all of it." "It could get dangerous," Eli said. "They've already threatened me, burned evidence. They won't want you talking." "Let them try," Miguel said. His voice hardened. "I've been quiet for 20 years, believing their lies, thinking my father chose to leave. No more. I'm done being quiet." He stood, picked up the photo, held it carefully, like a sacred object, like proof of something that mattered more than fear. "My father deserves to be remembered," Miguel said. "Not as someone who ran, but as someone who worked, who got sick, who was murdered by people who cared more about profit than human life." The word hung in the air. Murdered. Not died. Not passed. Murdered. "Yes," Eli said. "That's what this is. Murder." Miguel nodded, slipped the photo into his pocket, over his heart, walked to the door, turned back. "Thank you," Miguel said, "for digging, for caring, for not letting them bury this forever." He left. His truck disappeared down the road. The group sat quiet, processing, feeling the weight of what they carried. Names, faces, stories, people who deserved justice. "We're really doing this," Clara said. "Yes," Eli said, "we are." The barn waited outside, the dead earth beneath it, maybe holding Raphael's bones, maybe holding other secrets, but not for much longer. The truth was coming, and nothing would stop it. Mara sat across from the environmental attorney. His office smelled like coffee and old books. Papers covered the desk. He read through their evidence slowly, carefully, taking notes. Eli stood by the window. Miguel sat near the door. Clara and Jonas waited outside. Too many people made lawyers nervous. The attorney looked up. His name was David Chen. Mid-40s, sharp eyes, reputation for taking hard cases. "This is substantial," Chen said. "Medical documentation, payment ledgers, witness testimony, the recording you described. If you can get that, it strengthens everything." "How long would a case take?" Eli asked. "Years," Chen said. 5 minimum, maybe 10. Discovery, depositions, motions, appeals, and that's assuming we win." "What are the risks?" Mara asked. "Property devaluation," Chen said. "Once contamination is confirmed, land values crash. The county might declare it uninhabitable, force relocations, years before any settlement money arrives. If it arrives." "People could lose their homes," Eli said. "Yes," Chen said. "That's the reality. Environmental cases punish victims twice, once through exposure, again through remediation costs and legal battles." Miguel leaned forward. "My father is dead," Miguel said. "Probably buried somewhere on that property. How much is truth worth? How much is justice worth?" "I can't answer that," Chen said. "That's for you to decide. I can tell you this will destroy the comfortable lie this town lives under. It will cost jobs, ruin reputations, divide families." "It already has," Eli said. "We just didn't know it." Chen nodded. Returned to the documents. Made more notes. The scratch of his pen filled the silence. "I'll take the case," Chen said. "But you need to understand what you're starting. Harlow has resources, lawyers, political connections. He'll fight every step, drag it out, bury you in paperwork, make your lives hell." "He already is," Mara said. "It will get worse," Chen said. "Much worse, before it gets better." They left with assignments. Eli would get the recording. Mara would compile medical data. Miguel would write his statement. Clara would organize historical documentation. Jonas would face his past officially. In the parking lot, they stood together. The weight of Chen's warnings hung between them. "He's trying to scare us," Miguel said. "He's being realistic," Eli said. "So what do we do?" Clara asked. Her voice wavered. "I'm 73. I can't relocate. I can't afford years of litigation." "You won't have to," Eli said. "Once this goes public, agencies will intervene. State, federal, maybe both. They'll force cleanup, compensation, protection." "Maybe," Jonas said. "Or maybe they'll look the other way, like they did before." "Not this time," Mara said. "We have too much evidence, too many witnesses, too many eyes watching. They can't hide it anymore." Eli pulled out his phone, showed them email confirmations. He had sent copies of everything to 3 news organizations, 2 environmental advocacy groups, 1 federal agency, all last night, while they slept. "It's already out there," Eli said. "In motion. We can't stop it now even if we wanted to." Clara smiled, tired but genuine. "Good," she said. "Then let's finish what we started." They drove home separately. Eli watched his mirrors again, looking for followers, for threats, for signs they had been noticed. The road stayed empty, but the feeling of being watched intensified. Rowan knew they were organizing, building a case, preparing to fight. And Rowan had already shown he would burn evidence, threaten jobs, destroy lives to protect his empire. The next move would be his, and it would be decisive. Eli gripped the steering wheel, prepared himself for what was coming, for the confrontation that couldn't be avoided, for the moment when comfortable lies would finally shatter. Mara opened her locker at the clinic. A formal letter waited inside. She unfolded it. Her hands already knew what it would say. Written reprimand for unauthorized database access. Violation of patient privacy protocols. Final warning. Further infractions will result in termination and license review. Her supervisor stood in the doorway. "I'm sorry," he said. He didn't sound sorry. Just tired. "This came from administration. I can't protect you anymore." "I was researching public health data," Mara said. "You were investigating your employer's largest donor," he said. "That's different. That's political, and I can't have political issues in my clinic." "People are sick," Mara said. "Dying from contamination that was hidden." "Maybe," he said. "But that's not your job to prove. Your job is patient care. Focus on that, or find work elsewhere." He left. Mara stood alone. The letter crumpled in her hand. Her career, her license, her future, all threatened for asking questions. She drove to the grocery store. People avoided her eyes, whispered when she passed. The rumors had spread. Eli was suing, trying to destroy Agricorp, ruin the town, and Mara was helping him. At the checkout, the clerk was cold, barely spoke, bagged her groceries roughly, no smile, no small talk, just transaction and dismissal. In her car, Mara cried, brief, quiet, then stopped. She had made her choice. She would live with the consequences. Across town, Eli found his mailbox stuffed with flyers, anonymous, printed warnings. "Don't let outsiders destroy our town." "Agricorp feeds families." "Lawsuits kill jobs." His neighbors stopped waving, stopped returning calls. At the feed store, the owner asked him to leave, said his presence made other customers uncomfortable. "You're not welcome here," the owner said. "Not anymore." Eli left, drove home, isolated, marked, dangerous to be near. Clara answered her door to find Rowan standing on her porch, smiling, holding flowers. His voice dripped concern. "I heard you've been working too hard," Rowan said. "Old records, late nights. You should rest, Clara. Take care of yourself. At your age, stress can be deadly." The threat hid beneath kind words, but Clara heard it clearly. Back off, or suffer consequences. "I'm fine," Clara said. "Busy, but fine." "I hope so," Rowan said. "It would be terrible if something happened. To you, or your home. This old place is so flammable, all this wood, these papers everywhere." He left. Clara locked her door, called Eli. Her voice shook. "He threatened me," she said. "My house, my safety. He knows what I have." "Move it," Eli said. "Tonight, everything to my place, or the attorney's office, somewhere safer." That evening, they gathered again. Eli's kitchen. The same group, but different now, scared, pressured, consequences becoming real. "My job is gone if I keep helping," Mara said. "My neighbors hate me," Eli said. "Rowan threatened my house," Clara said. "My wife is terrified," Jonas said. "Wants me to stop. Says we're destroying everything." Miguel sat quiet, then spoke. "My father had no choice," Miguel said. "He was migrant, powerless, disposable. He couldn't fight. But we can. We have resources, lawyers, evidence, options he never had." "But at what cost?" Jonas asked. "At whatever cost it takes," Miguel said, "because the alternative is letting them win, letting Raphael stay buried, letting Anna stay unnamed, letting Clara's students die unremembered. That's worse than losing jobs, than losing neighbors, than losing comfort." Silence. The truth of his words settled. Hard. Undeniable. "He's right," Eli said. "We're too far in. They're already punishing us. Might as well finish it. Mara nodded. Clara straightened. Jonas sighed, but didn't object. Then we move forward, Eli said. Tomorrow I meet with Rowan. Get the recording. After that, we release everything, no matter what happens. Outside, a car passed slowly. Headlights swept across the window. Nobody recognized it. Nobody knew who watched, but someone was. Always. The pressure mounted. The consequences multiplied. The cost of truth kept rising, and they kept paying it. Eli found Jonas burning papers in a barrel behind his barn. Afternoon sun cast long shadows. Smoke rose thick and black. "Jonas," Eli called. Jonas jumped, turned. His face showed guilt, fear, desperation. The barrel blazed between them. "What are you doing?" Eli asked. "What I should have done years ago," Jonas said. He held more papers, ledger pages. The handwriting matched the notebook he had given Eli. "You're destroying evidence," Eli said. "I'm protecting myself," Jonas said, "and my wife. We'll lose everything if this goes forward. The farm, our savings, maybe even freedom. I could go to jail, Eli, for hauling those barrels." "You were a victim too," Eli said. "I took money," Jonas said. "I knew something was wrong. Chose not to ask. That makes me guilty, complicit. The law won't care that I was desperate." He moved to throw the papers in. Eli grabbed his arm. "Don't," Eli said. "We need the complete record." "Why?" Jonas asked. "So they can prosecute me? So my wife can watch me go to prison? So we can lose everything for crimes I committed 30 years ago?" "Because it's the truth," Eli said. Jonas pulled away, stared at the burning barrel, at the papers in his hand, at Eli. His face twisted, decades of guilt, shame, fear, all surfacing at once. "I hauled 23 barrels," Jonas said. "Over 18 months. $460 per barrel. $10,580 total. I bought this tractor with that money, paid down my mortgage, fixed the roof, fed my family." His voice broke. Tears ran down his weathered face. "Every night I drive that tractor, I think about it," Jonas said. "Every time I look at this roof. Every meal I ate. All of it bought with poison, with death, with Anna's suffering, with Raphael's life." He dropped to his knees. The papers scattered. Some caught fire from the barrel, others lay on the ground. Ash and ink mixed with his tears. "I'm sorry," Jonas said. "God, Eli, I'm so sorry." Eli knelt beside him, picked up the papers. Some burned, others intact. The confession Jonas couldn't finish destroying. The guilt he couldn't escape. "How many others?" Eli asked. "Who else hauled?" "3 others," Jonas said. "Tom Reese, Dale Hoffman, Pete Suarez, all dead now. Heart attacks, cancer, strokes, all within 10 years of hauling." "They were exposed too," Eli said. "Yes," Jonas said. "We all were. We all knew something was wrong. We all took the money anyway." Eli gathered the papers. The barrel burned low. Most of the evidence Jonas had tried to destroy lay saved on the ground, smoke-damaged but readable. "You can't run from this," Eli said. "It'll eat you alive, worse than any jail." "I know," Jonas said. He wiped his face. "I just wanted one more day. One more day pretending I wasn't a murderer." "You're not a murderer," Eli said. "Yes, I am," Jonas said. "I helped kill your wife, Miguel's father, Clara's students, everyone on that list. I'm a murderer who got paid $460 per victim." They sat in silence. The barrel crackled. Wind scattered ash across the dead grass. 2 men. 2 different kinds of guilt. Both crushed by the weight of what had been done. "Come with me," Eli said. "To the attorney. Give your full statement. Face it. That's the only way through." Jonas looked at the barn. At the farm he had built with blood money. At the life he had bought with other people's suffering. "Okay," Jonas said. I'll tell them everything. Eli helped him up. They gathered the remaining papers, soot-stained, incomplete, but enough. Enough to document Jonas's role, his guilt, his belated honesty. Driving back, Eli felt something shift. Anger at Jonas remained, but so did understanding. The system had designed this, made people desperate enough to haul poison, then blamed them for doing it. Rowan had created the crime, Jonas had executed it. But Rowan walked free, respected, wealthy, while Jonas burned his own legacy in a barrel behind his barn. That was the real injustice, and Eli would make sure it ended. Eli wore the recording device under his shirt, the wire pressed against his skin. Cold, obvious, but hidden beneath flannel and a jacket. He drove to Harlow AgriCorp headquarters. The building dominated the town square. Glass, steel, success. The parking lot held expensive trucks, new equipment, prosperity built on buried bodies. Rowan's secretary smiled. Professional, efficient. He's expecting you, she said. Rowan's office occupied the top floor. Windows overlooked the entire county. Fields, roads, the barn visible in the distance. Everything Rowan controlled spread below him like a map. Eli, Rowan said. He stood, shook hands, gestured to a chair. I'm glad you came. We need to clear the air. That's why I'm here, Eli said. Good, Rowan said. He sat behind his desk. Leather chair, mahogany surface. Everything expensive. Everything earned from this town's dependence on him. I understand you're concerned about the old barn property, Rowan said. About historical practices, about illness patterns. Yes, Eli said. Let me be direct, Rowan said. What you're digging into happened decades ago. Different era, different regulations, different understanding of environmental safety. But people got sick, Eli said. People get sick everywhere, Rowan said. Rural life is hard. Agricultural chemicals, pesticides, old wells, many contributing factors. Connecting all that to one company? One facility? That's speculation. I have files, Eli said. Medical records, exposure logs, your company's logo on the documents. Rowan's expression shifted. The smile faded. Something harder emerged. Old tests, Rowan said. Compliance efforts. We monitored, we documented, we followed protocols available at the time. You watched people die, Eli said. We operated within legal standards, Rowan said. What would you have preferred? That we panic the town? Create mass hysteria? Destroy property values? Kill jobs? Ruin the economy over fears that couldn't be proven? They could be proven, Eli said. Your own documents prove it. Documents from a different time, Rowan said. He leaned forward. Let me explain something, Eli. This town survives because of AgriCorp. 600 jobs, health insurance, retirement plans, school funding, everything. If you expose those old issues, you'll destroy that. Force remediation, environmental lawsuits, company bankruptcy. Everyone suffers. They're already suffering, Eli said. From cancer, from contamination you hid. We made hard choices, Rowan said. His voice stayed calm, cold, certain. Necessary compromises. Informing residents would have helped nobody, would have harmed everyone. So we protected them, protected the community, made sure life could continue. By letting them die, Eli said. By preventing panic, Rowan said. By ensuring stability, by choosing the greater good over individual tragedies that were going to happen anyway. The words hung in the air. The admission, the justification, the complete absence of remorse. You knew, Eli said. You knew and you hid it. We managed risk, Rowan said. That's what responsible leadership requires. Sometimes truth does more harm than silence. Sometimes protecting people means protecting them from knowledge they can't handle. My wife died, Eli said. I'm sorry for your loss, Rowan said. The words sounded empty, practiced. But Anna would have died regardless. The cancer was aggressive. Exposure or not, the outcome would have been the same. Telling her would have just added fear to her final days. Eli stood. His hands shook. Rage, grief, disbelief. This man had watched Anna die, had predicted it, had done nothing, and felt justified. "You're a monster," Eli said. "I'm a realist," Rowan said, "and you're making a mistake. Walk away, Eli. Leave this buried, or you'll destroy everything, including yourself." "No," Eli said, "I won't." He walked to the door. Rowan's voice followed him. "Then you'll lose everything," Rowan said. "Your farm, your reputation, your place in this community, all for nothing. Because even if you expose this, even if you win, the damage is already done. The dead stay dead, and the living pay the price." Eli left, descended the stairs, walked to his truck. His hands trembled on the wheel, the recording device pressed against his chest. Every word captured. Rowan's cold logic, his admission, his justification of mass harm. At home, Eli played the recording, listened to Rowan's voice, the clarity, the confidence, the complete lack of humanity. "We managed risk. Sometimes truth does more harm than silence. We protected them from knowledge they can't handle. Evidence, clear, undeniable, admission of deliberate concealment, of knowing harm and choosing silence." Eli made copies, 5 of them, distributed to attorneys, journalists, advocacy groups. The recording spread beyond Rowan's reach, beyond his ability to suppress. The confrontation was over, the evidence secured. Now came consequences, for everyone. Eli drove back to Chen's office. Mara, Clara, Miguel, Jonas, all there, waiting. The recording played through laptop speakers. Rowan's voice filled the room. "We protected them from knowledge they can't handle." Chen stopped the playback, made notes. His expression stayed neutral, professional. But his eyes showed anger. "This is strong," Chen said, "very strong. Admission of knowledge, deliberate concealment, justification of harm. A prosecutor would love this." "What now?" Mara asked. "We submit everything," Chen said. "State Environmental Agency, Department of Justice, Health Department, media outlets. Make it too big to ignore, too public to suppress." They spent hours preparing packets, multiple copies, digital and physical. Every piece of evidence organized, cross-referenced, documented. By evening, they had submitted to 12 agencies, 8 news organizations, 3 advocacy groups. The evidence was out, unstoppable, irreversible. Eli drove home, exhausted, drained. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. "Mr. Garner," a smooth voice said. "This is Richard Cole. I represent Harlow AgriCorp. Mr. Harlow would like to make you an offer." "I'm not interested," Eli said. "Please hear me out," Cole said. "Mr. Harlow is prepared to purchase your property, the barn and surrounding acreage, $150,000, significantly above market value. All you need to do is sign a confidentiality agreement, cease investigation, withdraw any pending actions." Eli pulled over, gripped the phone. $150,000. His mortgage paid. A new start. Financial security. All for silence. "Think about it," Cole said. "Your property is contaminated, unsellable. This may be your only opportunity to recover anything, to move forward with your life." "What about everyone else?" Eli asked. "Mr. Harlow is prepared to offer reasonable compensation to other affected parties," Cole said, "provided everyone signs non-disclosure agreements, withdraws complaints, allows the matter to close quietly." "He wants to buy our silence," Eli said. "He wants to offer resolution," Cole said, "without years of litigation, without destroying the community. This benefits everyone." "Except the dead," Eli said. "The dead are beyond help," Cole said, "but the living need to survive. Consider that before you refuse." Eli hung up, stared at the darkening road. $150,000. Enough to rebuild, to escape, to forget, but not enough to live with himself. He drove to the barn, stood on the dead earth, looked at the charred underground room, at the land that held Raphael's bones, at the evidence of decades of suffering. His phone rang again. This time Rowan himself. "Eli," Rowan said, "think carefully. That offer solves your problems. Secure your future, or keep fighting and lose everything. Your choice." "I already chose," Eli said. "Then you're a fool," Rowan said. "You'll destroy this town, cost 600 jobs, ruin property values, turn neighbor against neighbor. All for what? Revenge? Pride? Your wife stays dead either way." "Justice," Eli said. "Truth, accountability, things you wouldn't understand." "I understand consequences," Rowan said. "Better than you. When this town collapses, when families lose homes, when children go hungry because Agricorp closed, remember you did that. Your self-righteous crusade destroyed them." "You destroyed them," Eli said. 30 years ago. I'm just making sure people know." He hung up, blocked the number, stood in the cold evening air. The offer was gone. The bridge burned. The choice final. He had turned down financial security, guaranteed his own ruin, accepted isolation and loss, all for evidence that might change nothing, for truth that might destroy more than it saved. But Anna's name deserved to be spoken. Raphael's death deserved acknowledgement. The children on Clara's list deserved remembrance, and that was worth more than $150,000, worth more than comfort, worth more than safety, worth everything. The investigators arrived 3 weeks later. State Environmental Agency, Department of Justice, health officials. They came with trucks, equipment, hazmat suits. The barn became a crime scene. Yellow tape surrounded the property. Ground-penetrating radar swept the fields. Soil samples disappeared into labeled bags. Water testing equipment lined the creek. The underground room was photographed, measured, documented. News crews followed. Cameras, reporters. Eli's farm became national news. Rural county contamination cover-up. Corporate malfeasance exposed. Decades of illness linked to illegal dumping. Miguel stood before cameras, held his father's photo, told Raphael's story, his disappearance, the lies, the probable murder. Reporters listened, took notes. His father's face appeared on evening news across 3 states. Rafael Ortiz was a person, Miguel said. Not disposable, not forgettable. He mattered. They all mattered. Interviews continued. Clara with her school records, Mara with medical data, Jonas with his ledger and trembling confession, Eli with the recording, each voice adding pieces, building the complete picture. Rowan released statements through lawyers, blamed defunct subsidiaries, long-dead executives. Regrettable practices from a different era. His PR team worked overtime. Damage control, corporate spin, empty apologies. But the evidence spoke louder. The recording played on news programs. Rowan's voice, cold, calculated, admitting deliberate concealment. Sometimes truth does more harm than silence. Public opinion turned. Agricorp stock dropped, lawsuits multiplied, federal prosecutors opened criminal investigations. Rowan's carefully built empire began crumbling. Eli received confirmation from investigators. His land was contaminated, unusable for farming, designated Superfund site, mandatory cleanup, years of remediation ahead. His farming life was over. The letter arrived officially, compensation pending, relocation assistance available, timeline uncertain. But he also received other letters from State EPA, Department of Justice, congressional investigators, all thanking him. His evidence had triggered interventions, protections, mandatory health monitoring for affected residents, federal funding for cleanup. The barn came down, machinery tore into wood, exposed the underground room completely. Investigators descended, sifted through debris, ash, earth. They found remains, 2 sets, buried beneath the foundation, forensic analysis pending, but the locations, the timing, everything suggested Raphael and one other worker, disposed of, erased, buried with the evidence. Miguel wept when they told him. Relief and grief intertwined. His father would come home. Finally. Monitoring wells dotted the field now, warning signs everywhere, the contamination mapped, documented, acknowledged. No more pretending, no more hiding. Clara organized a vigil. Community members came, some supportive, others angry, divided, but present. Names read aloud: Anna Garner, Rafael Ortiz, Tom Reese, Dale Hoffman, Pete Suarez, 23 others, all connected, all victims. Candles flickered in the evening darkness. Memorial flowers piled at the barn site. People cried, remembered, grieved publicly what had been denied privately for decades. Eli stood at the edge, watching, Mara beside him, Miguel nearby, Clara and Jonas together, the group that had pulled truth from buried ground, that had refused to be silenced. Was it worth it? Mara asked. Eli looked at the names, the candles, Miguel clutching his father's photo, people finally knowing, finally remembering. Yes, Eli said, it was. The barn was gone, his farm ending, his old life destroyed. But the truth stood, solid, real, witnessed. That was worth everything. Spring came 6 months later. The barn site showed only disturbed earth, monitoring wells, a temporary fence. Cleanup continued, slowly, bureaucratically, but steadily. Eli lived in a smaller house now, 2 counties over, state relocation assistance, modest, clean, no contamination, a small garden in back, vegetables growing, simple work, honest work. His farm was gone, sold to the state, remediation project, decades ahead. But compensation had come. Enough to start over, to live modestly, to find peace in smaller spaces. Miguel visited weekly. They had become friends, brothers in grief, in fight, in survival. Raphael's remains were buried properly now, family cemetery in Texas. Miguel had brought Eli to the funeral, closure for them both. Mara worked at a clinic in the city, different job, better pay, using her skills where they were valued. She called regularly, checked on Eli, on Clara, on Jonas, keeping the group connected. Clara lived in assisted living now. Her house had been in the contamination zone, compensation pending. But she seemed content, surrounded by people, telling stories, no longer lonely. The school board had named a scholarship after her, recognizing her courage, her documentation, her refusal to forget. Jonas had testified, fully, completely. No prosecution followed. The statute of limitations had passed, but his conscience had cleared, partially. He and Eli spoke monthly, rebuilding trust slowly, carefully, acknowledging what couldn't be undone. Rowan faced trial, multiple charges, criminal negligence, conspiracy, environmental crimes. Agricorp had filed bankruptcy, 600 jobs lost. The town struggled, divided, angry, grieving. Some blamed Eli, called him a traitor, a destroyer. Others thanked him quietly, privately, for naming what they had suspected, for giving voice to decades of suffering. The memorial stood at the barn site now. Simple stone, bronze plaque, 26 names, Rafael Ortiz, Anna Garner, all the others. Those harmed by unreported contamination, may truth give them peace. Eli visited quarterly, brought flowers, stood in silence, remembered, Anna's name engraved clearly, officially, acknowledged. Today he stood alone. Late afternoon light, birds singing, the contaminated earth slowly healing beneath warning signs and machinery. He touched Anna's name. Cool bronze. Permanent. Real. "I didn't forget," he said. "I promised I wouldn't, and I kept it." The wind moved through new grass around the memorial, life returning slowly to poisoned ground. Not quickly, not completely, but returning. Miguel pulled up, got out, joined Eli at the memorial, Raphael's name beside Anna's, forever connected, forever remembered. "My son asked about his grandfather today," Miguel said. "I told him the truth, all of it. He deserves to know." "Yes," Eli said. "He does." They stood together. Two men, two losses, two refusals to forget. The memorial witnessed their silence, held their grief, gave weight to what had been denied. Eli walked back to his truck. Miguel beside him. The contaminated land stretched behind them. The monitoring wells, the cleanup equipment, the long work of healing poisoned earth. His life was smaller now, simpler, quieter, but honest. Built on truth instead of buried secrets, on acknowledgement instead of convenient amnesia. Anna's name stood on stone. Raphael's story was known. The dead were finally named. And Eli could live with that. He drove away. The memorial shrank in his mirror. But its presence stayed with him. Anna remembered. Raphael honored. Truth carved into bronze. Small comfort, but real comfort. And that was enough. The end,